Welcome back, English 9. It's good to see everybody. Okay, this is the week we start to finish out our novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. So I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys this week and finding out what you thought about everything. This week, we're really going to focus on a few things regarding tone and mood, and also um, this idea of the novel being a Bildungsroman and talk about how it qualifies for that. So you'll be able to make claims about characters and themes this week. You'll be able to support your claims with evidence from a text, and you should know the difference between tone and mood and be able to identify those within a selected text. So let's start with this conversation here about the idea of To Kill a Mockingbird being a Bildungsroman novel. Now, if you look at it, you might say, okay, what does that even mean? Well, Bildungsroman is a term, German word that means formation novel. Building can mean education, cultivation, or formation, and Roman is novel. So, as you know, just as we would identify something as being horror, or mystery, or romance, Bildungsroman is also a genre. Probably the best way to think of it is coming of age story. That's probably one thing that people are more familiar with. So, some of the elements that you think about when we reflect back on this story as we finish it out this week, most coming of age stories or building Romans have a journey of some type. It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical journey. It can be a spiritual journey or an emotional struggle that they have to overcome. There might be a struggle for identity where the hero questions her sort of belief system, who she was and who she is now. There's usually some sort of societal conflict that you're going to notice in the story as well. They find something that kind of contrasts their original view of life and so on. Um, and to top it off, one thing that is also very common in this type is the loss of innocence, right? I think that's one that most people associate with it. That the hero has to lose his or her innocence in some fashion. Doesn't necessarily have to be a death, but it has to be something that, when they started in the story and where they are now at the end, they're a different person, right? Because they lost that sort of childlike innocence. So at this moment in the story, the verdict has come back on the Tom Robinson trial. Tom has been found guilty. And that really sort of rocks Jem and Scout. Jem, especially if you recall, starts crying because he doesn't think there's any way they could find him guilty. But he doesn't quite understand the town quite yet and how they're thinking and how they could possibly declare the man guilty with no proof. So it forces Jem and Scout to look at all the people in their community, and it also forces them to revisit Macomb in general, right? A town that they once thought to be this sort of pristine, perfect little town. Suddenly you see a lot of cracks and fractures there. So as we finish out the story this week, we're going to talk about that sort of qualifying aspect of it, how they became um, losing their innocence along the way. So that's what we'll focus on here in the first half of the writing.